Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Yesterday I got back from a 7-night cruise to Norway on MSC Virtuosa from Southampton, and I wanted today to take a moment out to show you the room that I'd booked, which was an inside cabin on the ship. Now, I've previously sailed with MSC on a few ships, and I've actually been on Virtuosa before, so this was the first time that I've ever returned to a ship that I've been on before, so felt a little bit strange, but great at the same time. Now, the last time I was on, which was for one of the maiden voyages last year, I had booked a solo traveller inside cabin, and this time around, literally just due to availability, I ended up booking a deluxe inside cabin. Now, when you look to book a cabin with this cruise line and on this ship, there's a few different classes of inside that you can go for, the same way that there's a few different classes of balcony, there's a few different classes of ocean view. For the inside cabins, you've got a solo traveller cabin, you've got a standard inside cabin, and then you've also got this deluxe inside cabin. So, to be honest, they're not hugely different. The biggest difference that I've seen is from the solo traveller to the deluxe, and I'll walk you through that when we go into the room in a sec. But previously, I haven't been overly sold on MSC's solo traveller concept. That's probably putting it very, very politely. I had come back from a cruise on MSC Orchestra a few years ago and really didn't enjoy being a solo traveller on there at all, and I came back from the maiden on Virtuosa, to be honest, really shocked at the lack of solo traveller events that there were. So up until last week, I probably would have said MSC were one of the worst cruise lines that I've seen for solo travellers. However, the great news, and I'm going to upload a separate video, is that what I've seen in the last week has completely changed my view, and I could not have been more wrong with that view that I had before. So watch this space and I'll get another video up to talk to you about what they do with solos. But I guess we should probably talk about the room. Now, the room that I booked, as I say, was a deluxe inside. Now, what that means is that it's essentially a slightly larger inside cabin, and it's in quite a good ship location. So my cabin was pretty much bang on midship on deck 10, which from a movement perspective, you shouldn't really feel a huge amount of movement there in comparison to being at the front or being at the back of the ship. Now, this cabin is not a solo traveller cabin, so just before we go into it in the video, and it maybe throws people because you think, wow, that's a huge room for a solo traveller. This room is intended for 2 travellers, which means that if you book as a solo, you absolutely should be expecting to pay a single supplement on there. Now, for my cruise that I've just got off, the supplement was sitting around 30%, which is probably one of the best supplements that I've ever had to pay as a solo traveller. Sometimes you can pay up to an additional full person, which I completely disagree with, and it's my total pet hate with the cruise industry. But when it's sitting at sort of 30%, you really, in my opinion, you really want to be considering upgrading into one of those 2-person cabins. So hey, look, before we jump in, if you find this video useful, if you enjoy it, I would really appreciate if you would consider giving it a thumbs up and then also subscribing to the channel, which you should be able to do just underneath the video. And yeah, without further ado, let's have a look at the room. Okay, so as I said earlier, this is a relatively mid-ship inside cabin, so 10133, meaning it's cabin 133 on deck 10. Now, you can see as soon as you walk in here, this is a big inside cabin. I was really surprised at how long it was and how much space there was in front of the bed. But this literally had absolutely everything that you could need for a week or 2 or however long you're on for. You'll see when you spin around here that you've got quite a lot of storage included here, and we'll get into that in a sec. So moving over to what you have in front of the bed here, because there's quite a lot to cover actually. So you've got this sort of console section at the end where you've got your full-size TV, which again is probably bigger than I've seen on maybe even any other cruise ship in this type of room. This is essentially, it holds your remote control for the TV on the left, and you can keep your papers on the right, and then you've got your cabin phone. So on there you can phone guest services, you can call restaurants, you can call any other room if you need to. Moving over to the desk, you've then got like glasses, they give you an ice bucket, which actually I thought was quite a nice touch. I never had to fill that, so I'm not sure how you would do that. I guess that you'd maybe just go to a bar and ask for ice. But then on English sailings, you also get a cabin kettle, which is quite a good addition actually. From what I know, they take this away when you're not sailing from Southampton though, so one to remember to ask for if you're not leaving England. Also on here you've got your Zoe speaker, which essentially acts as a wireless speaker. Now this is probably one of my favourite things in this room, just because I love to listen to music all the time when I'm in my room, and it's so much better having a speaker than just playing it through your phone. All the other bits on here, you've got all the usual paperwork that you normally get, and then we'll move over and look at the other paperwork that's on the bed in a minute. So yeah, over here when you embark, you'll have your daily planner, which is where you can find out everything that's going on around the ship, along with like recommended excursions for the ports that you're going to. MSC also give you a full excursion guide on day one, which I thought was a really nice touch. And then on the right hand side there, it's just adverts for Wi-Fi packages. And you've also got your pool towels in the room, so if you're heading up to the pool, or if you're heading to the beach, you can take them from your room. Now the next thing that we're going to look at is where I feel like a bit of an idiot from my previous blog reviews. I couldn't find this for love nor money on my last cruise, and I had so many people contact to say, oh no wait, there are actual USB ports underneath the lights. So it then became my mission on this cruise to find those USB ports. So in my defence, I think they're far too hidden. Make it a little bit more obvious that they're there. But it's fantastic to have them, so really good plus points for MSC on that one. Now moving over to look at storage now, there was an absolute ton of storage on here for me as a solo traveller, but again I probably can't really comment if this would be enough if I was travelling with someone, given the fact that's actually something I've never done before, but I would give it a guess that this would be more than enough. So you've got double hanging space, you've got a safe in here which is free to use, and then directly underneath you've got two full-size, pretty deep actually, drawers that both individually pull out, and they're both soft close, which is really nice actually. And outside of the wardrobe, you've then got, on the right hand side, you've got like a additional drawer that pulls out, and that's got the hairdryer in it, and then underneath that you've got like a little table with a stool. Now the table that you can see underneath, I haven't ever figured out the use for that, but it seems to be in all of the inside cabins because it was also in the solo one. The minibars in here, minibars with MSC and standard cabins aren't included, so I heard quite a lot of people that were requesting them to be emptied so that they could put their own stuff in them, so it's maybe worth a thought if you're planning to cruise in here. And then yeah, the final thing to look at in here is just the fact that you have got a full length mirror, which is always useful. The amount of rooms I see where it's only the top half that you can actually see. You've then got your climate control up here, so to be fair I usually don't like when it's hotter or colder and that's the only option, but this one was pretty responsive, and when it got to where it had to be it did click off. You've then got the make up my room, do not disturb, and then yeah, the light switches below the key port, but there's probably not too much to talk about there. So now moving into the part of the room that I think MSC deserve the biggest kudos for. Now, I quite often find that when I cruise on my own, or when I cruise in a standard like inside cabin, quite a lot of the time I end up wishing that I had just booked the bigger room, because particularly the bathrooms can sometimes feel really small. This was definitely the case on Virgin on Valiant Lady recently, where you almost felt as though the toilet was pretty much in the shower, which wasn't too ideal. However, in here, from the other people that I met on the ship who were in balconies, I met one that was in a suite, this bathroom was pretty much identical in every way to what they had. You've also got your washing line at the top of the shower there, by the way. So yeah, there's nothing about this bathroom that feels smaller or feels worse off than what any other type of room would be. Toiletries on here are the MSC fragrance toiletries, which actually they're pretty good. So look, if you don't like packing shower gel, if you don't like packing shampoo, don't worry, you'll be absolutely fine with what they provide. And yeah, that's it. We'll head back into the room, and then there's just one more thing that I need to show you. So the question that I always get asked, as you know, is what plugs will be in the room? How do I charge things? Now in here you've got a couple of different charging options. So you've got European and US in here, and you've also got the addition of like individual USB ports as well. Now you've got one there and you've got another two by the bed, so you're not going to go short. Now I guess the question is, would I recommend booking this cabin in future? Now I guess my answer there would be that it completely depends what you want from your cruise. I love an inside cabin for a whole number of reasons, but if you're one of the people that likes to spend loads and loads of time in your cabin and you like to be looking out of a window watching the scenery from your room, then obviously I wouldn't recommend this cabin because that's not what an inside offers. However, if you're like me, where you tend to spend time in your room to get changed or go to bed at night, and the rest of the time you're up enjoying the ship, then absolutely give this one a shot. So that's it. That's a Deluxe Inside on MSC Virtuosa. If you've enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate it if you could click the subscribe button, and yeah, we'll catch up soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.